every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Astaroth, the voice of New Eden, and it is January 12th, YC126, and this is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's it going, guys? It is Astaroth. How you doing this Friday? I'm having a good time. It's been a couple of days. I was supposed to stream yesterday, and I guess before we begin much of anything, I should talk about why I didn't stream yesterday. So yesterday, we've been having some struggle with my son getting back to school after the winter break. So kind of that's what Tuesday and Wednesday was really focused on, and then Thursday I had difficulty getting him ready for school again, but he made it. He went to school. And then like a half an hour later, I look outside and there's 2 fire trucks, an ambulance, and a police car outside my house, my apartment area. And I'm like, well, that's too many vehicles to not know why. Is something happening that I should be aware of? And unfortunately, it turns out that one of my neighbors passed. And so it was a pretty dramatic thing for a lot of people in the area. I didn't know him very well myself, but I know a lot of the people that did know him very well. So even though like all of it was resolved by the time that it was to go to stream, it felt really weird and strangely like disingenuous for me to like go from that to like, hey guys, how's it going? So I chose to not go through that cognitive dissonance, and but here we are. So unfortunately, in the last 24 hours, when between when I made this stream and now, what changed, or what was winning the poll changed. It was yeet exploration. It changed over to gas huffing. But I was already planning for yeet exploration. So I think we're still going to go with that, and then we'll just put gas huffing next. Except, as I was getting ready in the last, like, 30 minutes, I was just going over, like, oh, is there any news or anything I have to go over and all that stuff? And I stumbled upon something that reminded me that I really, really, really want to cover it. And it may end up taking most of the stream. So where are we? I messed up a little bit. Hold on. All right. So the community beat of last Friday, or is that last Friday? Yeah, last Friday's community beat came out, and it showcased this the older career chart and then the newer career chart. And I didn't really cover all that. Muad'Dib took this up. I've talked to him quite a bit in the past, and I've tried to help him out where I can, although I will say that like I didn't help much. He did the vast majority of the work. He's a great dude, but my difficulty has always been like assembling the list of things. So he's got all these, and so I want to go through this chart as kind of like the pretext to kind of go over say what I can about these different play styles. And so it'll either be, and also I have a list. I have a list of activities that I believe he does not have on there that probably should be, and we'll see if we can add some more. to that list. Not saying that he's like done something wrong, but like that's the thing is I can't make a base list from nothing because it's like there's so many of the basic things that I feel like I can't get out of the sea or whatever. But like I can take an incomplete list and I can brainstorm what else can be on it. So maybe I'll help out with 2.1 with this. But so at best it'll be, or at worst it'll be like a review of or a showcase of this this chart. At worst, or at best rather, it'll be a EVE Online activities mega guide. Who knows? We'll see. I have absolutely no preparation because, like I said, I saw this and I immediately was like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to just like the chart. We're going to walk through the whole chart. So I think that that'll work. Does that sound good to people? Y'all are quiet today. I should mute myself and then keep talking so that way you guys say something. I'm kidding. All right. Yeah, I figured that that'd be good. A couple things I do want to cover before that, though. Tomorrow, in the system of Yona, there is a pretty big structure bash that I'm going to be at. It's going to be a fun time. A lot of people have been invited. I'm at least going to be recording it. We'll see how that goes from there. It's probably going to be a shit show. I shouldn't have sworn that early into the stream. But yeah, there's that. If you need more information, the timer's in Yona. Hey, Nesman. Yeah. So, additionally, I did want to address, because I do have a lot of newer and returning players, I do want to show off that there is a sale on the starter packs. The starter packs are already pretty good deal, and these packs are 50 to 40% off. So if you look at these, that means for, let's start from the bronze. For $5, you can get 14 days of Omega, 100,000 skill points, and 5 skins. The skins are probably not worth that much beyond, you know, whatever, because it's only the $5 pack. Lots of people have that one. Then the $10 pack. The now $10 pack has 30 days of Omega. So it already was a month of game time for the normal cost of a month of game time, plus, you know, 250,000 skill points and skins. So this was already a really good deal at $20 if you're going to buy, if you know, for your one-time. These are all one-time purchases, right? So, you know, one of the times you sub, you just pick this up instead. Like, it's always made sense. But now at $10, like a month of Omega for $10. And then likewise, that's the other one. And then likewise, the top one, no, the gold one is for $30. That is 60 days of Omega for $30. So that's what, 2 months for $30. It would normally be $40. So it's $15. So basically you get 2 months of Omega at the old price, plus another month of Omega worth of Plex. That's $25 worth of Plex, and 500,000 skill points, which is like 10 days of Omega training, half a month of Omega training. So you got the golden as well, worth it. Don't forget the, yes. If you wish to feed my my guinea pigs, please don't forget to like the stream. If you wish to feed my Raid Shadow Legends addiction, talk to me about paying to my PayPal. No. So for 30, yeah, so this is already, you're getting a deal off of the 60 days, plus you're getting a third month. So yeah, you're getting 3 months of Omega for $30. plus other stuff, plus one of the months is Plex, which means it's actually technically worth more. That's really good. And then the Platinum, which is the biggie, you know, if you want to be big baller, it's 90 days of Omega and 1,500 Plex. So that's 3 plus 3, 6 months of Omega, rather. Half of it in Plex, plus an MCT, which is not quite as much as another Plex, but almost. And another 650,000 skill points for $60. So again, you're getting like 6 months of Omega. Is that right? Yeah, 3. Yeah, 6 months of Omega for $60. That's, I mean, full disclosure, I don't pay for anything for my Omega anymore. But they're also not paying me to say this. But like, unironically, I don't know if I've ever seen a better sale, because these are like, unless like you really, 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 really want the skin that happens to be in the bundle. But I mean, like, as far as just like a normal package, like these sales on the bundles are kind of crazy. Like, if you pay for Omega, you should probably pick one of these up because it's just cheaper. That's crazy. All right. Nothing really in patch notes, nothing really in updates. Is that all there is to it? How you guys doing? Okay. Let us introduce the topic a little bit. Let me clean this up a little bit. Hopefully this works. Okay. What happened? Okay. Sorry, this is normally the stuff I do for like an hour or more before the show. Okay. Whatever. We're calling that good. Is there a normal, friendly, and active corp in a Mars space recruiting? I don't know about in a Mars space. I mean, the convocation is willing to support you wherever you are, but I'm not sure. Hey, what's up, Container Records? All right, so let us begin. Oh gosh, hold on, I messed this up. Let's introduce this. So years ago, there was an old things to do chart, and this is actually one of the older ones. Or sorry, this is one of the newer ones. This is not the original one. This was one of the remakes, and it was not updated since 2016. So there's a lot of things missing on it, and like the Triglavians were totally missing on there, which I thought was really funny. So there's a guy named Muad'Dib who has recreated it, and I've chatted with him. We had where I tried to give him some help, although he did the vast majority of it. I more gave him like, he talked to me a couple times about it more than anything. But I wanted to go over his chart, so here we go. I know I kind of was a little bit redundant, but this is the chart that he made. I just wanted to catch anybody up that had wandered in. We're going to start. How should we start this? So we've got 4 different categories. We've got PvE, community, or is it 4 or 5? I think there's actually 5. Oh boy. PvP industry, which leads to markets, corporation alliances, and community. Okay. How corporation alliances are not community, we're going to find out. But before I even begin, I may make some notes about like where things are, but you got to lay these out somehow. And he did a commendable job. One of the things I really like about it is like over here, you can see how things are linked together and what leads into what. Is there a link to the updated one? Yeah. So in the community beat at the very bottom of the area, that he goes, you can always find the latest version here. So I will post that. It's just the this forum post by Muad'Dib. And he's got a full printable version. That's actually the one I'm using. It's a vector drawn. So that's why it actually takes so long for me to scroll around and stuff and size it. Is not because it's huge, but because it's literally like redrawing it every time. Either way. So let us begin with wormholes, which is part of PvE. Interesting choice, but no, it's a good way to categorize it. So in wormholes, we have wormhole gas sites. Find hidden gas sites to make T3 components for T3 ships. And of course, the scanning does lead into gas sites, hacking sites, DED sites, as well as wormhole gas sites, which is the T3 components for T3 ships. The interesting thing about these wormhole gas sites is that they are alpha friendly-ish. And like you really, basically there's a timer between where you get to huff as much as you possibly can. And if something shows up, be it sleeper or player, you GTFO before they can grab you. It's pretty fun and very profitable if you do it right. Wormhole mapping, less profitable. No, depending on the groups. Basically, so wormholes, wormholes rotate roughly every 24 hours, although they can collapse early. And some of them are much shorter. A good example of this would be frigate wormholes, which generally are 4 hours instead of 24 hours. But either way, every 24 hours or so, the entire wormhole network refreshes. And not all at the same time. So basically, there's a whole thing about like these wormholes are basically shortcuts in space, either between systems in wormhole space, like connecting wormholes together that may not necessarily always be connected, and most of the time aren't, or like HiSec, it can connect wormholes to HiSec and therefore be used as a chain in order to get goods from deep inside a wormhole. Maybe a high-class wormhole like a C6 connects to a C2 today, and that C2 also connects to HiSec. So now that C6 has a clear path towards HiSec that they can utilize, which is extremely valuable to them. So that's like that kind of chain. And all of that requires people going out and mapping as many of the wormholes that they possibly can. All of the wormholes in your system, all the wormholes that are in those wormholes, all the wormholes in those wormholes. And it is often a pretty thankless job, but a necessary one, especially for wormhole groups. But even for like faction warfare or low sec or pirate groups, because like for instance, Turner is a really good example. Turner has more low sec connections than anywhere else. So going and scanning Turner every day is valuable. But even beyond that, like if you scan the Amarian area every day, you might be able to find HiSec connections that lead to Caldari space. And then you can suddenly get a whole bunch of goods from Jita to Amar without having to deal with all of the BS that it takes to do that, either a million jumps or Abyssus. So wormhole mapping is incredibly valuable all over the place and is a great use for scanning. Exploration. Wormhole exploration combines not always in lower wormhole classes hacking and ratting. So basically in wormhole space, in C1 through C3 wormholes, data and relic sites from pirates sites in null can spawn in wormholes. This means that you basically the most valuable normal pirate data sites can spawn in wormholes. So you're looking for any site that has a pirate name in it. So either Sancha, Blood Raiders, whatever. And the you're also making sure that it doesn't have the word covert. If it's a covert site, we'll get to those in a little bit. But as long as it has the pirate name, and if it doesn't have a pirate name, if it's just forgotten or unsecured or something like that, blah, 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 then that means it's a sleeper site, and those are guarded. So you're looking for, in low-class wormholes, C1 through C3, you're looking for sites that have the name of a pirate group, and be careful if it has a name of a covert. You're also looking for sleeper caches, sleeper caches, which are also listed elsewhere. But the best sleeper caches are in wormhole space, or I believe. Are they? Is that even true? Hold on. I just had a moment of I think that's true. I know the best ghost sites are in sleeper space. Just want to thank you for your content. Just started Eve before Christmas, and your videos have been like a foothold in Eve not to get discouraged. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, Amelia. Emils? Yes. Yeah. I actually have a video called what does it mean if a hacking site has 4 evenly spaced cans, where you can see me also forget it's a ghost site. Anywho, next, ratting in wormholes. Very, very lucrative. So every day these different sites spawn. They go in and they kill the rats. Interestingly enough, going back to this exploration thing, the data sites that are guarded are actually decent sites for ratting, and in fact are often considered 1 tier higher than the normal ratting site. So like a data site in a class 2 wormhole will have a class 3 tier like amount of rats and, you know, difficulty and reward. So that's why a lot of people like to rat in the data sites. But yeah, this is where you get a lot of marauders. This is where you get people that like, especially, this is why people like wormholes with wormhole connector, like statics. So that way they can roll the hole, find a hole with content, go in there, run the content, get out, roll the hole again, find more content, etc. Colonization, settle down in a wormhole by using a POS or Citadel. Yeah, yes. You know, that's a big piece of it. Wormholes are significantly more dangerous than other places of space, both in your vulnerability and also in what you the risk to your stuff. Unlike known space, there is no asset safety in wormhole space. So anything that's in wormhole space is able to be, if they blow up your structure, they get it all. It's not even 50%, they get it all. So, you know, be careful to keep your colony slim and your profile low if you want to do a smaller colony. 07. Shattered systems. Shattered systems are special wormholes that are pretty cool. So in order to colonize a system back in the day, there had to be moons. The shattered system had no moons and therefore cannot be colonized. However, now citadels also cannot be anchored there. So these systems are unconquerable space, as it were. There are still people that live in one, in like maybe an orca or whatever. A lot of shattered systems are frigate only, but not all of them. And one of the special things about shattered systems that are different than other wormhole systems is that shattered systems have ice. And because fueling your structures is a big concern for all wormholers, shattered systems are incredibly attractive for that reason. Shattered systems are also the reason why you can thank the porpoise not having ice compression. Nomadism, moving from wormhole to wormhole without settling down. A lot of people really like to do this. T3s are incredibly good for this because they're incredibly flexible. They can be completely reconfigured. You can have multiple copies of it, or you can, if you find anywhere to dock up, you can set up and become a totally different thing. Or if you just carry around a mobile depot, you can fully reconfigure from there. especially hunters. This is where the truly crazy people that like stalk people for like a week and a half or more in order to kill a miner or whatever come from. They're truly spooky people. Do you have to be multi-box to be in no, no, I wouldn't say so. Like it helps. So like, it helps to be able to, right? Like I'm not always going to have both. If I'm going to, let's say I'm doing this whole thing, I'm not always going to have both my accounts logged in, but I'm not going to want to like log in my Orca, jettison a thing, and then log out, and then log in my dude, and then grab it, right? I'm going to want to log in both my Orca and my dude at the same time. So I'm either going to be living out of a mobile depot, living out of my ship, or using an alt, which all three of those options are perfectly valid. Like I said, a T3 cruiser, like there are people that just roam around and hunt things. I mean, you're not making like trillions of ISK or whatever because you're basically mostly just going around and hunting. But or you could do sites too, actually, now that I think about it. You could do sites. All right, so is there anything else in wormhole space? Did I think of anything? Oh, one that I found interesting here. If you're going to call out shattered systems, then I feel like Thera should be listed as its own thing. It has its own considerations, logistical, market, PvP. It's. I would argue that with some of these things, if some of these other things are on this chart, then Thera should be under wormholes, unless it's somewhere else and we haven't gotten to it yet. Additionally, the other one is drifter hives. I don't see it listed here, probably because it isn't something that a lot of wormholers do, but it is an activity that is done in wormholes. So I would argue that the drifter hives are on here. Yeah. Next, scanning gas sites. So the thing I don't like about this is that like, so we have wormhole gas sites, but this is gas sites. If I just come here to scanning and I see scanning gas sites, I'm not going to think that these are two different things. But also, this is where it shows that it's out of date. Okay, the big out of date thing, and we're going to keep running into this a couple times here, I think, is that this is this doesn't seem to take into account the new industry changes. So in this, it says find hidden gas sites to make mostly illegal boosters. But the problem is that the most like profitable way of doing gas right now is actually getting the gas for the doodads for faction ships in like low sec, mostly in low sec faction or like empire space. So that gas is as valuable, if not more valuable, than wormhole gas, and it is so it is. I feel like this is both. That needs to be its own thing, right? And so I feel like this hasn't quite been. And we'll see, like also like reactions. I feel like a lot of the a big thing is that reactions aren't really seen as an activity on their own, which you might see them as being part of other activities. But with everything else, some of these things being split out the way they are, I disagree, and I think that they should be split out into their own thing, right? So like wormhole gas, null sec gas, low sec gas, right? That seems to be right, because also these gas sites, additionally, like to do those illegal boosters, you also have to do the gas combat sites in order to get the formulas to be able to do the boosters, and they take different reactions. So therefore, it's different rigs in your Athanor if you're going to be using one of those, which you do have to use an Athanor in order, or a Tatara or something equivalent in order to do reactions. So, whatever. Either way, hacking sites. Find relic data in sleeper caches with scanner probes. Again, like, I find it really weird. Now, actually, this does split out into relic sleeper. Never mind, I'm dumb. This one does split out into hacking sites. They got it. They're good. And then DED combat sites. This is fine. They also have that over here. Oh, anomalies to escalations. So I like these arrows, but it is limiting sometimes, right? So like in this case, I would like, this is the problem with having to lay these out on a 2-dimensional page, right? So, where is it? DD combat sites should theoretically have an arrow that points to escalations here. But either way, whatever. It is mostly about the site itself. I'm right? DD combat sites can still escalate. Also, are we going to... I guess we're lumping rated and unrated combat sites together. I guess that makes sense. Technically, there is differences, but I couldn't even, like, enumerate them to you. All right, relic sites. Get T1, T2 salvage components from hacked containers. Accurate. Sleeper caches. Get rare modules and blueprints from these puzzle-like sites. Accurate. Get invention components, blueprints, skill books, and more from hacked containers. Accurate. Go sites. Get unique loot from these dangerously time-limited sites. Accurate. So what is missing here, though, the problem is that, like, this is the exploration section, and maybe it fits in somewhere else. But I think that Yeet exploration should be its own thing, right? Like, that's its own... I feel like there's a lot of exploration into the different kinds of mission running, but there's not an exploration in a lot of different kinds of exploration. Also, unironically, faction warfare exploration sites are not listed on here. That should be up here on hacking. Faction warfare data sites. Also, event data sites. Events frequently come with a data site. All right, ratting. Belt ratting. Okay, so the thing about belt ratting, I've talked about this before. It doesn't really talk about this here, but belt ratting actually entails going between belts in order to hopefully trigger a rare spawn. Basically, every time somebody warps to a belt, if there isn't a spawn there, it has a chance of triggering a spawn. So that's why you go in, you kill the rat if there is one, and then you warp off. So that way, when you come back, it will have a chance of spawning. And every time it spawns, it has a chance of being a rare spawn. And that's effectively it. I have a YouTube short about that, actually. Anomaly ratting. So anomaly ratting is... So, like, those are the ones that don't have to be scanned down. The most profitable anomaly in HiSec are the dens, because dens escalate to a 4 of 10, which is effectively a low-sec site that can still escalate in HiSec. So it's probably one of the single best, like, combat anomaly thing that you can do without leaving HiSec is roam around, kill dens, and then do the escalations when they end up in HiSec. Hey, Jay! How's it going? Jay Kuhn, everybody. Take a bow. No. It's good to see you, man. Abyss running. Income from bounties, loot, salvage, mission rewards, and LP starts with level 1 up to level 4. I don't know. This was never accurate. I don't know why this says this. Correction. It should be starts with level 0 up to level 6. I like my... Also, it has no bounties. This is 100% wrong. Wait, this is just wrong. No, this is wrong. This is actually missions. This is the description for missions. Yep. This is correct for combat missions. So abyssal running, I like the description of 3-room semi-randomized timed dungeon in which you have 20 minutes. Well, you can leave that. That's it for there. I don't know if I agree with. Well, also, this doesn't even talk about like there's Cruiser Abyss, and then there's Group Abyss, right? There's Solo Abyss and Group Abyss, which I feel are very different. Pirate base destruction. Those are the fobs, or now as they're called, strongholds. Also has the mission description. These are pretty interesting. So the quirk about these guys, so their response is based on what comes to attack them. So if you bring a bigger fleet, they'll come with a bigger response fleet. So you don't actually want to like outnumber them, because otherwise they'll start alphing people. And you need ships with like really, like, there's a lot of different strategies for how to beat them, actually, now that I think about it. Some of them are quirkier than others, but the interesting quirk about these guys is that when they die, they pay out 25 million ISK to everyone involved. And I don't know if we've ever found an upper bound to that. Jay Coons is here. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. But, like, you can bring 25, 50 plus people in destroyers, like, halfway through the fight and go in there and shoot and get on, you know, participate in the fight. And they all get paid out and nobody gets paid less. It's kind of wild. But either way, they're mostly a nuisance. And so people get paid to, either they get paid to clean them up, or they just go and get them cleaned up. Is it 39? Is it 39 people on grid? There you go. So yeah, you can solo these under certain conditions, but like you're missing out on 38 times the loot, or the ISK. The loot out of them is pretty trash. Incursions. Incursions gets this whole section. For just high sec incursions, low sec incursions. So what I don't like about this is that invasion content isn't on here at all. And you might argue, but Ash, invasion content isn't around anymore. And to that I say, but there is still the Dreadnought site in both Pochfin and Edencom. There are still the other sites that can be run, and some people do. Actually, does Pochfin even get listed anywhere in here? There's Pochfin ratting sites and exploration sites. Then, in addition to that, you can go, like, one of the things that we actually do is go and kill the fleets and the towers in order to get the loot from them, because you can use that to build Stormbringers, which are extremely valuable, you know? So it's absolutely it's a play style. That's true. So if you think about it, like so I imagine, like, the Omega part is for Abyssal running. Like the top part doesn't match. Like, he put in the frame and the words separately, right? So he got the name right, he got the main frame, but then when he went to go do the text, he just didn't change the text, right? He updated the other components of it. I kind of wonder how he made this. I was working on a project in Unity that would basically build this based on a list of, like, a backing data set. But either way, next, mission running. We have combat missions. This is the correct description, although there is still a correction to be made. What's funny is that this is still technically wrong. Income from bounties, loot, and salvage, mission rewards, and loyalty points starts with level 1 up to level 5. Combat missions go up to level 5. Now, most people only run 4, but it does. I mean, we're talking about what's possible, right? I don't see. Oh, don't you feel like they should do the same thing as before, where like combat arrow? I get whatever. Okay, fine. If level 5 missions is a separate thing from combat missions, then Fleet Abyss is different than Solo Abyss. Okay? Then faction warfare exploration data sites are different than normal data sites. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Distribution missions. Move cargo from A to B for mission rewards and LP. This is burying the lead 10 feet under. Holy shit. Do you know why people do distribution missions? It's real simple. Standings. Okay? The reason why distribution missions are great is because they trigger storyline missions. I'm going to go with 16, and someone's going to correct me if I say it wrong, because it's a 50% whether or not I get it right every time. Every 16 missions you do, you get a storyline mission, right? So if your combat mission takes you 15 minutes, how long is it going to take you to grind up your faction standings? Because your normal missions aren't giving you any faction standings at all, okay? So if your faction standings, like let's say you're actually at like negative 2.1 with Gallente, and you're like, shit, I need to get above 2.1. I don't want to just grind a ton. Actually, I can't even grind a bunch of level 4s because I'm below 2. So I have to grind level 1s. Well, what can I do? Well, what you can do is you can grind level 1 distribution missions, or even if you're trying to get to a higher level thing, you can do distribution missions. And with a big hauler, you can do they come in clusters, right? So you can basically get a whole bunch of distribution missions, like 5 or 6 of them, and knock them all out at the same time. And that's how you get your standings up fast. That's how you trigger standings gains. Or if you want to get standings with a corporation because you want to start doing their level 4 missions, just suck it up and do some distribution missions, and you'll get your standings up way faster. Either way. Yeah. Also, mining missions, some mission-specific ore, and occasionally avoid NPCs for mission rewards and loyalty points. Yep, this is fine. Distribution missions also typically don't negatively affect another standings. Yeah, but the storylines that they trigger do. I'm almost positive. That said, one of the best ways to get your faction standings up is still the Sisters of Eve Epic Arc, because the Sisters of Eve Epic Arc does not derive, right? Okay. So research and development, increase the passive research points income for invention, components, and acquisition by running daily R&D missions. So let me straighten this out. So basically, once you get good enough standings with an agent, with an R&D agent, they're a special kind of agent, like a locator agent, where once you get a high enough standings with them, if you also have science with them, then you'll begin to develop research points with them. You'll build it up over time. This happens passively in the background. And then you can go and use those points to get data cores. So like making sure to go around and at least talk to all of the research and R&D agents that you have unlocked because of your, whatever, and start to build up those points is a great way to start building up passive income. It's not much, but like what I mostly see is like people that go AFK for a while. A lot of you returning players, if you're returning and if you dimly remember doing this, go check. You may have a lot of ISK worth of research or R&D points to cash out. Epic arcs. So follow a series of scripted missions with rare rewards at the end. This is really good for faction modules. So I feel like epic arcs, like the SOE epic arc, should absolutely be split off from the rest of them. Okay, the other epic arcs are for like the empires or the pirates, and they have high standings requirements, whereas the SOE epic arc are designed for newer players and has low standings requirements. Although, interestingly enough, I believe all of the epic arcs are kind of more designed around doing it in smaller ships, where the epic arcs, the pirate and other one, are more about like assault frigates and stuff, where the SOE one is more about T1 frigates and destroyers. But yeah, you don't think that you're going to be bringing like a big battleship or anything like that to do these most of the time. There might be examples within the empires. I know the pirates are mostly that way. Either way, so they can be pretty good rewards for faction modules and ships, or storyline modules, like the Black Eagles Drone Link Augmenter is gotten through the Gallente Epic Arc. The SOE Epic Arc, as I said earlier, it gives you a boost to your faction of choice, and it can be done every, I'm going to say 4 months. And that faction boost does not derive, so it's a good way to gain faction standings without losing faction standings with everybody, with their enemies. And the pirate faction epic arcs are actually really good ways of fixing your standings with the pirates, even if you have bad pirates, especially like the Angels one, and I think the Grissa ones both. If you're trying to get into insurgencies, the epic arcs have a way to use your standings in a different, like an Empire faction, to kind of bootstrap your way into the pirate epic arc. So you might want to look into those. And then level 5 missions, harder and more lucrative combat missions, only available in low sec. Sure, fine, whatever. What about Cosmos missions? I know they're kind of a joke, but they technically they exist. People do them. There's at least some things to them. And faction warfare missions are not the same as normal missions. So that should probably be on there under missions. They generally they're a good way to gain LP primarily for faction warfare, but there's been less of a focus on them with the new faction warfare system, but they absolutely still exist, and they're absolutely still big in LP gainer, and they do have different properties than normal combat missions. Also, burner missions aren't on here. Let me write that one down too. Burner missions are like special types of level 4 missions that are built around either more challenging, smaller confrontations that are like frigate or teams. Are they 90 days? Okay, 90 days. Now then, mission griefing. Combat probing, using combat scanner probes to locate ships running missions. Then one of these 3. I wish you could do some burner missions by themselves, even if the rewards were lessened. Yeah. I do like the idea of like, there's a group of people that do missions together, but then there's like the one guy that like is willing to go and do the burner missions. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, they don't share as well as like escalations even. And even that's challenging. Either way. Mission gankers. Kill mission runners when they're caught running missions outside of high-sec space. Ninjas salvaging. Salvage and loot wrecks from other people's missions. Suspect timer. Encourage mission runners to legally shoot you, then exploit their reactions to legally shoot back. There's also just mission griefing. Like, literally just mission griefing. Like, where the... where you go in... and I'm not trying to teach you guys stuff. I'm just trying to say that this is what people do. They'll go in and they know what the final rat is or what the key item is, and they will either steal or destroy it so as to make it so that you cannot complete the mission. My corp ran a bunch of burners together. It was pretty fun and good practice for the fleet work. Yeah, I just wish it was easier for that to come together, right? I agree. I wish you could set a burner aside, right? Like, what if as you do missions, you have a random chance of like getting a burner ticket, right? And you can have up to 5 burner tickets at a time. And whenever you want a burner mission, you can turn in a burner ticket. So you can do like 5 burner missions in a row, but then you got to do more normal missions to get more burner tickets. I know burner ticket is a stupid name, but you know, like just an idea. Or even like closer to like escalations are, where it's like you've got 24 hours to trigger it. No, teach me how to get ISK. We're working on it. No, this is not, this is not about getting ISK, the one I was talking about. This is about how to like make people messed up. What I will say for everyone's advice, and you'll hear me say this all the time, I want to make a YouTube short about it. Never trust a Nurgle in high sec. Ever. Ever. Never trust a Nurgle in high sec. If you can remember one thing from my stream, one mantra to echo in the back of your brain as a high sec Care Bear pilot, never trust a Nurgle in high sec. It doesn't matter if you're an Orca. It doesn't matter if you're a battleship. It doesn't matter if you have no intent of doing anything to them. Never trust a Nurgle in high sec. What is a Nurgle? I want to do a whole segment on this one day, but out of impromptu of nothing, I guess. Or let's do a little impromptu version. This is the Nurgle. It is an assault frigate made by the Gallente off of the Triglavian technology. That's a T2 assault frigate Triglavian ship. So the thing that makes this thing so nasty is that it is small. It's a frigate, very hard to hit, but it has this trait where it has a bonus to disintegrator damage, but it also has a up to 100% maximum damage multiplier bonus, right? So under normal conditions, a Triglavian ship, every time it cycles, it'll do a little bit more damage and a little bit more damage and a little bit more damage and a little bit more damage until it's doing 250% its normal damage. Like it adds an additional 150% on top of its damage for its top damage, okay? This adds 300%. All right? Plus, it has a reduction in newt capacitor needs and whatever else. So, and it has a reduction in microwave drive signature radius penalty if it wants to use that, and it can have an assault damage control. Plus, it's got the resistance bonuses. So this thing is going to be a tough nut to crack. You're not going to crack it unless your mission ship has newts on it for some reason. You're not killing it, and it will kill you eventually. Yes, that is true. That the Nurgle can't, like, you can actually get a single Nurgle that you have to refit it in between them, but it can do all of the major burner missions. Hateless did a whole series of guides on that, which I recommend you go check out. Rest in peace, my friend. All right, so back to this. Yeah, never trust a Nurgle in high sec. High sec space. We have bumping, ramming ships to prevent them from mining or being able to successfully run a mission. Or warp, right? Bumping gets used a lot as a precursor to suicide ganking. They've got 3 minutes to get a scram on you. Duel spam, invite other players to duel in front of trade hubs in order to kill their ship. That's definitely a thing. Loot wrecks that don't belong to you and escape, avoiding the owners. This is a true one, and this can be, man. So this is a bigger problem when it comes to like event sites or, you know, whatever, or like invasions, things where like there's a boss with a really expensive piece of loot or whatever, that's when you really start to see ninjas. But you know, going in there and just looting one wreck is probably not going to be like the biggest thing. But you know, if there's wrecks that are known to be worth it, they'll be ninja looters. And like one of the most annoying things is like the ones that do it in Corvettes because they've got nothing like to lose. But yeah, you just got to be quick. Pro tip: enter is loot all. Yeah. Oh yeah. Bumping Macarials, bumping Stabbers. We've been theorizing like in high sec, if we suspect that there's a suicide gank coming, one of the things that we could do is warp to the target, and like bump it, or like not warp to the target, but like ram the target with like a bumping stabber or something like that. Like, and make the orca go flying, because then the catalyst won't be able to catch up and they won't destroy the orca. Anywho, this is under PvP. Wait, hold on. This is PvP? Why is missions under PvP? Wait, what? Why is missions under PvP? I feel like missions should be... Wait. I feel like... Am I crazy? Hold on. Yeah, why isn't missions in like PvE with missions griefing being PvP? That's weird, right? No, this is PvE. This is PvP. So, since we're leaving the PvE area, I will say we did talk about the invasions. Also, events. Like, events need to be their own thing. We don't think of it as an activity, but there are absolutely event runners, people who make the majority of their ISK by hitting all of the events really hard when they happen, and making like, you know, they make like a few billion ISK in, you know, a couple of days or a couple of weeks or whatever, and then that gets them until the next event. Or, you know, sometimes they go all ham and get like a ton. But yeah, like eventing is a different kind of PvE with, you know, shifting challenges. Usually combat, sometimes other things like mining or exploration or whatever. But like there's a weird absence of event content on this thing. All right. Miner ransoming. Ransoming players in popular mining systems and suicide-inking those who resist. I mean, I feel like that's almost a misnomer, because like if somebody's ransoming you in high sec, they don't give a crap whether or not you give them money. Just leave the air, find a different place to mine. Like high sec rocks are not worth like paying for the privilege to mine. Suicide ganking, destroying expensive player ships faster than Concord can kill you in order to loot their wreck with another character or a wingman. Fine. War deck camping, declare war on multiple large entities, then kill unsuspecting and isolated members passing specific choke points. War deck griefing. Okay, this whole war deck thing is also really old. Wait, this isn't the old one, right? Okay, so war deck griefing is wrong. Well, like the whole war deck section kind of doesn't assume the way that war decks are right now. So like there's war deck mercenary work, war deck mercenaries. There are structure ransoming. There's abandoned structure clearing. Speaking of which, be in Yana tomorrow. Because like it's not declaring war on unprepared. Hey, V-Rod Cruiser with that gifted membership. Thank you so much. It's not just declaring war on unprepared corporations in high sec in order to get kills out of them. Like that's not what war decks are about anymore. How can you sell a kill right? When you get a kill right, you can open it up to the public and put a price on it. Do we have that? Is that on here? Hold on. Yeah, the ransoming is that's true. Well, like that's the thing I was thinking about is that like suicide ganking also includes like denial, but I don't know if that's considered ransoming as much as like just like don't mind this belt or I'll kill you. If you have a kill right, I think that you find it in your character sheet, I want to say. All right. Yeah, I think that there's a lot more to war decks nowadays than just war deck camping. Because like and war deck griefing nowadays. Like it's a lot more complicated than this. But Poco Monopoly, take control of customs offices and popular systems in order to gain a tax revenue. That's definitely a thing. But also like if you're going to talk about that sort of stuff, what about market building? What about, well, I mean, I have market building listed as something that isn't talked about as much otherwise, but like, and market is also over in a different section, but like the also in PvE, wait, is mining? Oh no, that's resource gathering. So we'll get to that. I mean, like things like Tranquility Trade Hub, you know, tax evasion type stuff. But I guess that's all market and trade and, you know, whatever. Yeah, I think that's all somewhere else. So let's keep going. Piracy, gate camping, camp in stargates and wait for suitable targets to jump through. I think that this should point out in that it's in choke points. Like a lot of when you think about gate camps, you want to think about the fact that they are looking for content. So they're going to pick where they guess there's going to be the most content. So like gate camps are frequently in known choke points or like main traffic flow areas, but most importantly, they're at boundary points, right? Where high sec becomes low sec, or high sec becomes null sec, or low sec becomes null sec. Like this first system between regions, the boundaries between the places, that's where the gate camps are going to be. Once you get on the inside, it's usually pretty safe. Station camping, camp specific stations where targets are easily outside of dock range and wait for someone to get trapped outside. Kind of still a thing. Certainly could be a thing in like some of the asset safety systems. I feel like this is missing out on the fact that player structures exist. Yeah. I think that missions should have an arrow from both. I agree. From both. Ransoming, keeping defeated targets alive while promising to spare them for a fee. That's definitely a thing. Gate bombing, camp stargates with a very specific position with area of effect weapons and wait till fragile targets and finish their warp near you. Yep, that's definitely a thing. Fly around alone or in a group looking for people to shoot at. Yep. Force MJDing, try to forcefully pull targets away from where they were with a command destroyer in order to kill them. Yep. So I want to jump over here really quick to point out that they do say factional warfare. Enlist a militia in order to fight opposing militias, mainly low sec, can be done solo, but required to do so seems to be, but is required to do as a team to be able to complete actual objectives. First of all, I don't know if I agree with that. Oh, here's mercenaries and stuff. Okay, I guess there's that. Either way, I think factional warfare should be a section on its own within the PvP area, especially now that insurgencies are around, right? Because we have plex fighting, we have the exploration, we have the advantage sites, so like rendezvous sites and putting in the beacons and those sites. We have we have battlefields, we have insurgencies, We have the new insurgency mining site, the old insurgency mining site. The fact that bubbles are now happening, bubble camps in full corrupted systems, gate camps in fully corrupted high-sec systems. There's so much there that I think that at this point, factional warfare should be like, factional warfare is its own subcategory and split between Empire factional warfare and Pirate factional warfare. Now, obviously, that's very, very new, so there you go. But I feel like that's worth noting. So, either way, jumping back to here. The reason why I jumped to that right there was because, like, the piracy stuff gets expanded a little bit by insurgencies, too. Solo. Reconnaissance, scout out and collect information, usually in a discrete manner for your corporation or alliance. I mean, it's exploration. Either way. Public community. Join a public community fleet without being required to commit to a corporation or alliance. I feel like that also should be down in community. I'm not sure if this solo section is really great. Because, like, a solo can do fleet. A solo can join a corporation. Or you can, as a solo, you can join a small gang. Or as a solo, you can infiltrate another corporation. Or as a solo, you can solo. Or as a solo, you can group up with people to rob. What? And how is solo wormhole hunting any different? Like, I consider that the same as nomadic. This subcategory, I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, I feel like, yeah. It's weird that most of the solo activities say, as a solo, you can join a group. There are lots of solo activities, though. We should probably think of a few, but now my brain is fried because, well, I mean, a lot of them are other places here. I don't think that solo should be considered a type of activity because, like, there's solo mining and there's group mining. If anything, I think it should be a flag that's on these things, whether or not you do it as a solo or do it as a group, right? Solo is not a type of activity. It's a way to do an activity, right? All right. Yeah, the flag. Okay. Scamming. Contract scamming. Advertising contracts with deceptive prices, items, or names, or all three at the same time. There's a lot of good examples of this. One of the games I used to play is I would sit in Jita and look at local and play Spot the Scam. The assumption being that every single thing in Jita local is a scam. And so the challenge is to just figure out what the scam is. Nothing is 100% honest. And, this was years ago, even before HyperNet or whatever. But, like, back then even, I had 100% hit rate. Everything was a scam. So, like, some of the better examples are things that describe themselves as something that they're not, but whose icon is similar. So using a Molnir torpedo, but calling the contract a skill injector. You can't really do that anymore, I don't think. But, like, or another one that they'll do, this is one that they do. They'll post a thing where it's like, oh, I'm giving away these 3 things. And they'll at a ridiculously low price, right? So there's an item that's worth 15 million. Okay, we'll just use a low number for ease's sake. We're going to do. There's a thing that's worth 15 million, and you put it up for $1 billion. Let's not, because let's be more realistic. There's an item that is normally worth 150 million. Okay. And you put up 2 contracts for 100 million, right? That you want to sell them for 100 million each, and then immediately buy your own contracts, but don't close the window. You then put up another contract for 1.5 billion. And then you link in chat, you go, hey guys, just trying to get some quick ISK. Or hey guys, you know, I have some extra Tengus or whatever it is, right? Like, whatever it happens to be 150 million ISK or whatever, right? Like, here's some quick battleships to get you started at a discount. Normally 150,000 or 150 million, now only 100 million. And the first one is 100 million, but they go to buy it and it's already done. They go to get the other one, it's already done. The third one is still there. No one's gotten it yet. So they quickly click on it before checking anything, and they don't see that that one's 1.5 billion. That's what they're talking about. Or that's a very classic version of what they're talking about. ISK doubling. Exploit the victim's vanity by offering them to return multiples of their donations under the premise that the new victim will succeed in following the very specific instructions to get the money, unlike the good portion of other victims. So yeah, they usually have some sort of convoluted rule set in their bio that functions both as a gotcha to make it so that they can sincerely tell people to go F off, but more importantly, to give the veneer that, like, this is why they're doing it. Like, they're not making money off the people that can do it correctly. They're making money off the people that are doing it wrong. And there's a lot of idiots out there. And look, I already caught the mistake, so I'm going to fix it, and so that way I get the full amount. And it used to be even worse, because it used to be that they could have an API, like they would have their API tied to a website, so that way they could show their wallet transactions. And so but it would actually inject fake wallet transactions that showed that they paid them back. So you could put in your $1 one, right? And she pays you back, or they pay you back $1 or $2 or whatever. So you do your test amount. They send you back the correct amount for the test amount. And you can see on the API, you can see I sent the test amount. They sent it back, doubled. And you can also see where the other people did the exact same thing. And then they gave $1 billion or whatever, and they got back whatever. Or some of them get back a thing that says, like, you didn't follow the rules or whatever. So you're like, oh, some people are getting it, some people are not. Well, what they're really doing is they're actually injecting false records into the API or into the website to make it look like they're paying people back. That is now thankfully against the rules. So that's why you don't see that anymore. Advanced broker relations. Set up an improvised and overpriced buy order in order to encourage players to buy overpriced market-cornered items. I don't know. Okay, so, right. What they're talking about is, what they do here is, I have, like, an officer mod. Right? I have an officer mod. And I want to sell it for 1.1 billion. Okay? I'm going to... Now, this actually doesn't work anymore. Wait, this doesn't work anymore. They can't... Okay, so it theoretically, it doesn't work for RealZ, but it can still work, and this is how. So I put up a sell order in JITA. Sorry, I put up a buy order in JITA for an officer mod for 1.5 billion ISK. And then I put up the officer mod in some system within the region, but several jumps away. I put that up for $1.1 billion or ISK. That's the money. That's the amount I wanted to sell. That's how much money ISK I want for that module. Okay. But I put up that buy order for 1.5 billion. So now if someone happens to look at the market, they see 5-6 jumps away, there's a module that they could go buy, and sure, it's $1.1 billion, but they could just go 5 jumps and flip it for 400 million right now. And so they buy that module, and you delete your sell order, or you delete your buy order rather. And they're now holding the module for 1.1 billion, and you sold it for 1.1 billion. That's closer to what it is. It used to be that you could actually set it up so that way your wallet was in the negative. Like if you would have, you didn't have to put up the full amount of the value of the thing. So that way when it came time for them to sell it to you, you didn't have the amount of ISK. And so it canceled. And so he was left holding the bag. But yeah, that's not a thing anymore. All right. Corp Alliance theft. Infiltrate player-run entities in order to steal from them. Yeah? Man, I feel like there's so much more to scamming than all of this. And we'll come back to it or something. I don't know. I feel like this is a strange... Like, I feel like I want scamming to be an area or whatever. But I think that actually... You know what? I'm going to go on a limb. I think that scamming should be part of community. I think scamming should be part of community. Yeah. Why not? No. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of kidding. It's just a lot of these things have crossover. I feel like some of these things, like this is always the problem with this kind of thing, is how to lay it out, right? Okay, so we have anti-piracy. Good to know. I had wondered if fake escrow was still in the game. No. They fixed that. Took that entire skill, changed it. Anti-bumping. Harass bumpers in asteroid belts so that miners and haulers can work safely. Talk about a thankless job. Not sure how many people do that. Activating kill rights. Search for public kill rights or contact victims via Zkill, then activate these to kill prolific gankers. So when somebody ganks you, i.e. attacks your ship in high sec or attacks your pod in low sec, you get a kill right on them unless you were already a legal target for some reason. That kill right can be is available to you. Basically, it's a ticket to allow you to make them suspect for 15 minutes at any time in the next month. Now, you can use it, or you can make it available to your corporation alliance, or you can make it available to the public, where anybody can just use it and then make them suspect for 15 minutes. And if he dies, then that clears the kill right. And, you know, your vengeance has been wrought, right? However, you can also sell the kill right. You can say, you know, here's a kill right, but you got to pay me 10 million for it. This has two uses. One, it allows you to recoup a little bit of your loss, right? Like if your venture gets ganked and then you get a kill right on the ganker and you put it up for 10 million, there's a reasonably good chance that you're actually going to get more than your venture was worth. You're not going to get more than your mining barge was worth, you know, whatever. And it, you know, the more you put it up for, the less likely it is that somebody will buy it and use it. But the lower you put it for, the more likely that they just buy it themselves and clear it if they give a crap, right? So, but activating kill rights is always hilarious because sometimes people forget. I once was on a kill on a Providence, you know, an Amar freighter that was just on a gate, suspect, because he forgot that he had a kill right. Whoopsie doodle. Hauler escort. Ask as a protective escort to stop unarmed haulers ships from being attacked. I feel like this is very like all these other things seem to be speaking from the knowing. Like Hauler Escort is providing scouts to ensure that there's no danger, but also webbing to get the hauler from point A to point B faster. Ganker baiting, using bait ships to lure gankers to a location where you are cloaked to attack ship and destroy them. Also, suspect baiting should be on here too, right? So a good example of this is like when we had a lot of people, when we were doing emerging conduits, right? People use mobile tractor units. So then people come in and shoot your mobile tractor unit in order to suspect bait. And if you attack them, then they're ready to kill you, probably because they're in a Nurgle. So what some of us did was we would be in combat ships that could also do it. Like Phoenix would be in a Newt Praxis. That was an incredibly good PvP ship, but was good enough to run the site. Not as fast as normal, but he wasn't running the site for money. And so he would just go to where he knew that there were people that were harassing people doing these sites, and he would start running the sites, and they would go suspect baiting. They would suspect bait him, and he would newt them to death. And it was really funny. So, that's always cool too. Ganker gate camping, obtain intel on ship movements, then gate camp with others to kill ganker fleets as they travel through stargates. I don't know about that. I will say that like Udama Scout Twitch stream is really, really useful for intel when it comes to avoiding ganking. And there are anti-ganker channels in game and also groups even that try to go where ganking happens and logi the ships that keep them alive or kill the gankers. I'm not sure if you kill ganker fleets as they travel. I'm not sure if that's an accurate description, but maybe, I don't know. Was late to the stream. Can your Anubis Mark 1 fit deal with the Nurgle? No. Probably not. Not by itself, at least. The Nephthys would have the closer chance, but the Nurgle's just probably going to outrange you. I mean, like, or outrange your Newts, at least. All right. Corporation. Structure removal. Destroy player-owned structures, like bosses or citadels, by grinding through millions of hit points. Man, boy, does that try to... Like, that makes it sound terrible, right? Like, that makes it sound... That's a very biased description. Also, I feel like this is not just one task. I mean, wormhole evictions are a totally different thing than high-sec, a high-sec structure attack. Faction warfare, we already talked about. Hot dropping, drop on unsuspecting targets, valued at enough is to be worth the trouble of using a Titan class or Black Ops battleship. I mean, you can hot drop with a lot of battleship. I mean, again, I don't like some biasy are slipping into some of these things, but I don't know. The point of hot dropping, for those of you who do not know, is that basically the largest ships, capitals and Black Ops, have jump drives on them. So they can actually travel between star systems without using stargates. However, they need a candle lit on the other side for them to lock onto. This is this is a sinosaural field. So there are normal sinos that, normal capitals and super capitals can jump to. And then there are covert sinos that covert ops can jump to. And then there are industrial sinos that industrial ships and Black Ops can jump to. So that's what they're talking about. It's basically, a fight will start or whatever's going on. They'll catch somebody and like a dude will decloak, light a sino, and a whole bunch of shit shows up. Mercenary contracts. Camp, shoot, assassinate, or gank other players and things for a fee. I feel like, again, the vast majority of contracts nowadays are related around the defense or clearing of structures. So I feel like these high-sec mission or like ones should really be reviewed, especially when it comes to the war deck changes. Not new, even. Yeah, structural removal can be also people trying to like get their own moon mining. Yeah, clear out a moon so that way you can put your own down. Absolutely. I'm just saying, like, clearing a POS, clearing a Poco, clearing a, you know, and it's clearing a Citadel are 3 different things, and doing that in a wormhole are 4 different things. And again, I like, okay, so over here, you know, we have shoot, never mind, I lost my point. But there's like really easy, like there's things that are split up that do not need to be split up necessarily. So I think that those are very much different activities. Hot drop baiting, drop on unsuspected hot droppers by having a wingman behave like an unsuspecting target. Okay, I kind of like this. I like it. I like it. I get it. Although I would put the hot drop baiting directly underneath hot dropping. I would put them physically close to each other because, like, there's a bit of a joke between these two. And I feel like beat 1 comes above and later, which it just so happened that we read it this way. But, like, I feel like they should be associated better. HV, high value target hunting, tens of billions of ISK, using intense dedication and coordination in order to trap and kill them. See, okay, this is another good example of like where what's weird is that the way that these things are phrasing are kind of dating themselves. High value targets aren't even tens of billions of ISK anymore. High value targets are hundreds of billions of ISK now. You know, like we're talking Titans, we're talking faction Titans, we're talking pirate, you know, like AT ships. Oh, wormhole eviction is a separate thing. Wormhole eviction is a separate thing. I take back that chunk of what I said about it. Force players out of their wormhole. Be careful while carefully sieging the system to prevent any unauthorized entry or exit in order to improve your odds of getting more loot out of the defender. Sure. Sure. So okay. Here's something though. To the wormhole section. This is banal, but if exploration and mapping is a thing, then this is a thing. Rolling holes. I guarantee you, like, it's not listed here, but I guarantee you that it is probably the activity that any given wormholer you know has spent the most time thinking about in Eve since joining wormholes is rolling holes. So do I think it's possible? Yeah, I think it's actually possible. It's absolutely possible for a two-man corp to settle in a wormhole. Just realize that everything's ephemeral, and one day, you know, the beast is going to come knocking, and be ready. You know, have an idea for what you're going to do during that day, and set your risk accordingly, and make lots and lots of money in the meantime. Keep your risk profile low. In fact, if you're just 2 people, you can live out of a POS stick and have almost 0 footprint and be just fine. It could take years before anybody finds you enough to evict you or cares to. All right. Corporation and alliance. Defense fleet. Organize. Yeah, I guess overall, I think that some of these things could have been clearer by, I think that reordering them within the set would be good. So like wormhole eviction should be right near structure removal, probably, in my opinion. You could even like color the borders of ones that are kind of linked together. How we roll holes from the outside too. It's definitely a very notable thing. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's perfectly great. Defense fleet. Organize or participate in concerted efforts to protect your quadrant of space from intruders. That's so weirdly generic. Is this like a standing fleet? Is this like a quick response force, or is this like a structure defense? I feel like those are 3 different things. I don't know. Sov warfare. Fight as an alliance or a coalition of alliances in order to capture or defend conquerable solar systems. Great. Awesome. Done. I don't even think this needs to be a separate category. Unless you're going to split it out like things like other things besides fleet commander. In fact, I would go so far as to say, instead of, okay, hold on. Here we go. If you actually what if you actually had a solo activity? Oh no, because I like the flag about solo and fleet activities, right? Because really, I'd like to see a better exploration of fleet activities. If you've got the fleet commander, what about electronic warfare? What about logistics pilot? What about tackle? What about, I mean, I guess we have scout in the other place. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's an entire section for fleet roles that could come out of this. SIGs, run or participate in special interest groups, helping groups of players within alliance focus on specific activities and actions. I also feel like the things that aren't related to fleets here are largely, first of all, corporation and alliance should be unified. Second of all, Sov warfare should be in that unified group. Third of all, these fleet things should be separated into its own thing, with fleet roles being, being explored more deeply. And I think that IT and specialists and SIGs should be moved to community. Yes, IT specialists and fleet commanders, or sorry, IT specialists and SIGs are part of alliances, but they are definitely community activities, not alliance PvP activities. Right? I'm right, right? Yeah. IT specialists and SIGs are not I guess it is under corporation alliances. I feel like having corporation alliances separate from community is really, really hairy. But either way, buyback program, run alliance buyback program, offering a massively buy a wide array of items slightly below market value in exchange for handling the hauling of sales. So, okay, A, this is not the only kind of buyback, and B, it also doesn't have to be an alliance buyback. I know several mining corporations that have an ore buyback, right? Like the corporation facilitates, everybody goes in mines and all that stuff, and then the corporation basically pays out everybody's ore. Especially with things like, actually, you know what? This whole section needs to be redone, especially with the things like the corp objectives and the new like that director, or that new position that can create corp goals and stuff. Like, I feel like there's something here that isn't being explored, and it's certainly not an alliance only thing. All right, market. Oh, sorry. Let's actually go back over here. Community, volunteering, ISD. Volunteer with the Interstellar Division Service Department. Yes, ISD are awesome. They do great things. And if you see people shitting on them in like rookie chat, give them, remind them that we're here for them. Like, they're players that volunteer to put up with us. Our corps uses the opportunity windows to buy moon ore from corp members. Yeah, exactly. It's actually pretty cool. CCL works with the community team to improve comms between player community and CCP. I don't know what that is. ECAID, LOC. Are these even still things? First of all, I feel like this is ISD and then the branches of ISD. Yeah, because these are the forum moderators. These are the bug hunters, localization, newbie helping, and New Eden correspondent. those are so all of these are that's why there's a branch from here into the four arrows into the arrows. Got it. Yeah, thank you, Aki. I got it. My brain just edited it, I guess. So, out of game, official forums, Discord, Eve meetups, CSM campaigning, CSM elections, community subreddit, community Slack. As the person who made the Tweet Fleet Slack, I would like to recommend this become the community Discord, because community Discord is the one that's officially, like, that's the official one now. Art services, Fit Theory Crafter, third-party developer, organize a meetup. So, third-party developer and IT guy get very close together. Trust me. Fit Theory Crafting. Use third-party tools, fitting tools to create new... Discord. Oh, I guess it does have Discord. It does have Discord here, but like... I get... Okay, fine. It's two different things, but like... Okay, fine. Chat with other players and developers in a less exposed environment? What does that even mean? Less exposed to what? Like, Discord has a dark mode. Is that what they mean? Eve meetups. Meet up with other players, specifically in your city, country, or another country altogether. Eve meetups are awesome. Everybody should go there. I will say that, like, arguing... By the way, these little ticks at the top, at the left is indicate the difficulty level, and the right indicates how much ISK you'll need to deploy to make it successful. All things considered, I think that the meetup one should be potentially more than 1 star for cost. But I guess if you do have one in your city, then that helps. Iceland 2025, baby. They do say that organizing a meetup is spendy. That's true. Using the latest Crest endpoint. That's also not true. That we haven't used Crest as a major endpoint for a few years. It's now Swagger, but even that, I wouldn't even talk like that anymore about it. Like, I would just say using Eve's public API format or something. I don't know. CSM elections and CSM campaigning. Are these... I feel like those could be merged into being on the CSM, right? I'm disappointed in the lack of Tweet Fleet on Twitter. Or, yeah. Although, who knows whether or not we want to consider it that. Yeah, ESI. Art services is absolutely a real thing. I think that okay. I feel like art services could also just be like content creator. Because there's streamer and podcaster over here, but I mean, like, if you're making videos or whatever, or like making ads for people, or any kind of art, right? Like, you're making different kind, like, and you might not make it to sell. You might just make it because you like it. You know, it's still an activity either way. And then in-game corporation creation, like, doesn't this kind of belie the fact that corporations should be under community? Belie? Maybe that's a future thing. Yeah, possibly. Role-playing, join the Eve RP community. I feel like that probably could be sold a little bit better, but that's probably my bias. You know, join the rich unfolding live narrative of the Eve online universe, or join the largest living sci-fi story. I don't know, whatever. They've used such terms. Freeport Citadel, build a citadel open to the public and provide docking, repair, market, and other services. Yeah, some of these categories, I still don't know if I agree with them. In-game events, run or join existing in-game events, PvP tournaments, race, free-for-all, sub-capital sacrifice. Fine, but without showing the PvE version of the events, it feels even weirder for them to mention it here, because it's like, that seems to suggest that's the only events there are. Third-party services, become wealthy and trusted enough to act as a third party for otherwise impossible to secure in-game transactions. Man, are those rare now. Like, those are only for, like, high-tier structures and stuff now, right? Yeah, like, third-party services are not nearly as common as they used to be back before Keepstars. I don't... I guess it could still be there. Community creation, create a new community and select a theme to coalesce its participants around. I mean, oh, why is that? Like, I think community management, right? Because you don't just create it and you're done, right? Especially if you're separating it from like an alliance or corporation. If you're talking about like a community, you don't just create it. You also usually help run it. Creating it is part of running it. If it doesn't exist, you have to create it first. Yeah, the skin editor for ships. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, oh, that's a good one. We're going to see if this exists on here. What about collector? You know, we could look at it to see if this is on the market, but collecting like rare or things that you think are going to be rare eventually or something like that. Anyway, historian, document and or gather information about dev and player made Eve lore. This is literally for like one person. Although I'd like to think that I'm a free. I would like to think that I'm a bit of a historian, but if you want to just say that Andrew Groen is the one historian, then I won't disagree with you. Community. Oh yeah, we already did that one. Journalism, report current events or such as fleet engagements in politics, or blog about the game in general and its community. Sure. Podcasting, run or participate in podcast about EVE Online. Streaming, find some engaging content and stream it. That's the dumbest way to play EVE Online. Let me tell. No, I'm just kidding. Streaming's fine. It's just the one thing I will say about streaming. My one piece of advice to anybody trying to get into streaming EVE Online is embrace the nature of the game. In most games, your audience cannot just choose to interact with you however they want, whenever they want, for good or for ill. In EVE, they can. You can spend as much time as you want putting in as OPSEC. It'll never be enough because there are too many tools to be able to find you. All you're going to show people is that you don't want to be found. Embrace the nature of the beast. You live in a world where any of your community can come and interact with you at any time. That is unique, almost unique in gaming, okay? Like, that is a different kind of Twitch stream, and you have to treat your community in a different way because of it. All right, that's my soapbox about it. Billboard ads. Create billboard ads for other entities against in-game money. I think that would be for in-game money, but also, why isn't this art services? Right? Like, you see my problem? You could create it and hand it off to a manager. I mean, technically I did, but I mean, like, I don't necessarily think of the creation of the community as being the, like, when I created the Tweet Fleet, what was creating the Tweet Fleet Slack community? Was it when I went to Slack and made the account and created the Tweet Fleet Slack? Was that the activity that this is describing? Right? Like, community it's growing and developing and maintaining, and like, I don't know what they even mean by community creation as a separate activity to something else. Stream snipers are content. Or you got to win them over. People are honestly, like, people can interact with you for good. In my experience, especially if you're quick on the feet, most of the interactions I have with people in my stream in EVE are positive. Just be a good sport about everything. If you show that you get pissy about it, then people will punish you for that. Education. Rookie help completely new players in Rookie Help channel by answering questions in local chat and rookie systems. I do that. Help channels assist other players in the help channels by sharing your knowledge and experience in the game. The fact that these two get split when all these other things are combined really, really bothers me. Lead classes, learning lessons or fleet or online in-game classes to teach rookies and other players new techniques. Fine. Create guides, making guides in written or video format for the community. Wiki editing, help update and maintain online collaborations, learning websites like EVE University and EVE UniWiki. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a good concept, but again, like, I feel like there's a couple of things where if we massage the way our categories are working a little bit more, some of these will either collapse into each other or go to other places. Like, for instance, education, like, why isn't there an education under Corporation Alliance, right? Why isn't rookie help or help channels in the in-game section, etc.? All right, let's go to extraction. Hopefully this is a little bit more concrete. All right. Rock solid, as it were. Mining. Basic ore. Mine ore from asteroids in fixed asteroid belts. And anomalies. No, I'm just... okay, spawning ore. I would just say mining asteroid belts. Or I would just say asteroid belts or anomalies. Right? Like, don't... What is basic ore versus spawning ore? I think that... I don't like that. I want this to be, you know, asteroid belts, because that's what they are in the note, in the... If I look in the agency... It's asteroid belts or anomalies, ice belts, planetary industry. Hey, what's up? Sheeved, I still need to show off your videos, man. Golly. I think about it all the time. I'm not even lying. But, yeah. In fact, I was considering it today, but then I got this wild hair. So I've been on this one. All right. So, where were we? Ice mining. Yeah. Mine ice from ice belts found in fixed systems. That you think about me is sweet. Do check out Ashiv. He actually makes some really interesting videos because he's been a content creator pretty consistently for both EVE and EVE Online and EVE Echoes. So he's got a lot of really interesting insight towards EVE Online as a free-to-play game. How you have a great evening, my friend. I have a great evening because I get you guys to like, comment, and subscribe my stream. That's how I have a great evening. Gas harvesting. Wait a minute. Gas harvesting. Gas sites. Okay. Well, that, I don't know if I like that at all. I admit that finding the site and doing the site are different things, but high-sec refining. Master your refining skills to process high-sec ores. Why high-sec, low-sec, null-sec refining? Why? No, no. You don't get to split refining out into all three and not split mining out into all three, because the refining skills are the exact same skills that are required to do the crystals to do those things. Like, that's the same skill. Like, you could just say, like, high sec, no, 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 no. I don't like this at all. I don't know how to do it, but I think that, because like I said, you're going to mine asteroids in high sec, asteroids in low sec, asteroids in null sec. And depending on which you're going to do, you're going to use different crystals, which are going to use different skills. So it's just as, it's the exact same difference between refining the different ores. So honestly, I would collapse the entire thing to be refining. That's true. Subscribing and gifting memberships to content creators, that's an activity in itself, and it does make it is how I have a good evening. Difficulty and costs are all the same for them all. That's true. I wonder if that means that, like, they probably haven't, this is probably something that they've recently added and they haven't really touched on it yet. But I think that, so what are some of the things that are missing here? Okay, let's look into this. Ready? So let's actually think about what there actually is, okay? There's belt mining. Which, for the sake of this, we'll call it all belt mining. So just in case somebody happens to low sec belt mine, that's fine too. But then we're gonna go with anomalies. So that's fine so far too. Actually, no, it's not. I think that I honestly think that mining should be divided into the different regions of space because they're different activities. So we've got high sec belt mining, or high sec ore mining, which is belts and anomalies. I actually don't think that splitting them into belts and anomalies is overly useful, or as useful as space. So this is just my suggestion. So there's high sec ore anomalies, high sec moon mining, right, which is the R4 reactables. We have low sec ore mining, which is a different beast, both in what ore you get, what value it is, your risk versus rewards, and how you operate. Low sec moon mining, which is, again, different beast. It's just dumb. Don't do it unless you're Snuff. And then there's low sec, and I think technically high sec gas huffing. Then there is null sec moon mining, or belt mining, or ore mining rather, which is again a little bit different. And then null sec moon mining, which is again probably going to be a lot different than high sec and low sec. And then there's null sec gas huffing, which is for drugs. And then you have wormhole anomalies for ore. You have wormhole gas. You have wormhole ice. And you have high sec ice. And you have, well, you've got high sec, low sec ice, which is basically the same, although different danger levels. And then null sec ice, which is actually literally different ice. Did I miss any? Like, those are all different things. I consider those all different things, and then refining is all one thing. You know what I mean? As far as, like, different activities go. Planetary interaction. Extraction planets, factory planets. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Moon mining. I guess, okay, moon mining is a whole separate category. POS extraction farms? Am I stupid? Hold on. Have I done this entire thing on the old one? No, no, no. Oh, people are already... Okay. All right. Whew. All right, it's just a work in progress. It's just a work in progress. Okay, good. Okay, well, needless to say, all of the feedback that I have given about high sec and moon mining and reactions and all that kind of stuff, and what I'm going to say when we get to industry, all very much applies here. This is definitely completely obsolete. Not sure why PI extraction planets are harder than PI factory planets. Hold on. I actually might have an answer for you. Well, okay, so extraction planets take more time to do and a lot more fiddling. Factory planets require a lot more market knowledge and upfront costs. Because a factory planet is relatively simple and you build it like once and then you just bring whatever you want and hook it up and it cranks whatever you need out, right? Whereas extraction is actually more complicated. Like, what's more complicated? Mining iron from the ground and smelting it, or making chainmail jewelry? Okay. Hauling. Courier contracts. Accept public courier contracts to move goods for other people. Yes. Freight corporation. Accept private courier contracts within a well-known freight corp. Absolutely. Alliance logistics. Accept courier contracts as part of your alliance or logistics group. And jump freightering. Use jump freighters to teleport goods to dangerous areas of space. If you're going to have jump freightering, then you got to have blockade runners too. Because, like, that's a whole nother way of smuggling. Factory is more planning up front since P4 needs a lot to do. No. So I think that the assumption here is that the factory planet is not doing from extraction up. So literally all you're doing is buying the component to make the P4. Like, you're buying all the materials. You check, you see the materials to make the P4 is cheaper, significantly cheaper than the P4 is. You buy a shit ton of the materials, you crank it into P4, you sell the P4. Right? So the factory, you just need to have an advanced factory setup. And then you just dial in what you want, dump it in, and you're done. All right. So with that in mind, also, hauling, I feel like hauling deals with the market too, but market is its own thing. I don't know. Courier contracts are varying levels of difficulty. A contract from Jita to Amar is way different than Jita to Deepmol. Yeah, that is another problem with all of this, is that, like, they are, like, a lot of these things have varying difficulty, and sometimes it seems like they're registering the difficulty at its lowest point, like its entry level, versus its maximum level. It could be cool to see, like, if there was a second way, like if you color them in, like, a different color, like a faded color, for how far it goes, right? Like Abyss might start at 1 in each category, but then have filled in, like, faded in the other two to show, like, it ramps all the way up to being one of the most expensive and lucrative things you can do. Oh! I'm running out of room. But under PvE, we have crab beacons. We missed that. All right. So here's where things get a little bit weird. And again, this is, I think most of this is from before the industry changes. So we're going to have to update this for the industry changes. So T1 production, I mean, this is true, but it should be specified that it's below battleship. Okay. And then on top of that, there should be battleship and capital production. Although I think capital production is over here. But there should be battleship construction, which is a separate path. And there should be faction ship construction. Empire faction ship construction and pirate faction ship construction, because those also require different things. You know, the Empire and pirate factions, as well as the battleships, require the R4 reactable doodads, and the pirate faction ships require the gas doodads from both sides. The Empire faction ship does not, subcapitals do not require the doodads, but I think the capitals do still. And then likewise, so like R4 reactions should be in Tech 1. There's a difference between R4 reactions and other kinds of reactions now, because R4 reactions are used to build T1 ships. Tech 2. Tech 2 production. So this is why I say this, is because like if you're going to split invention out as part of Tech 2 production, then you have to split out the reactions too. So we have R4 reactions, and then we have higher moon reactions, and you have drug reactions, and you have T3 reactions. Those are 3 different kinds of reactions. And while some of these are split out in here, not all of them are. And I think that that needs to be like better captured, because those are separate activities in and of themselves. Also, you can turn it into a new activity when you haul scam contracts on purpose to take scammers' money. If you're good and have time to sit around cloaked in a safe to time to zone tank their camp. Oh, yeah. I mean, that is possible. Yeah. But, and that's the whole thing, is that there's a whole set of griefing and counter griefing in the hauling community that isn't even addressed in here, but you know, whatever. So blueprint research, fine. Blueprint copying, that's fine. Yeah. And then T2 production, I feel like this should be split off into its thing. Even if you just have the arrows, right? You should have the arrows. Like T1 production, have an arrow, have its own arrow down that leads to R4 reactables, and then T2 production has an arrow down to the other one, invention, and you know all that stuff. Tech 3 production is the class 3 ships, which is reverse engineering and polymer production. See, if you've got polymer production, then why don't you have ship component production? You know? Yeah. Capital production and super capital production, structure production and Palantine production. Palantine production is a scam. Character enhancement, booster production. So again, this is that gas reactions. It's hidden over here. And skill injector farming. Having farms of characters consistently training their skill points to be extracted. That's a thing. And then project discovery here at the bottom, which talks about it. Is there anything else that we feel like they missed? Like, this feels like a good list, but let's see. Is there anything that we feel? Let's wander around through the UI a little bit and see if there's anything we feel they missed. Let's see. I mean, there's all of Pochvin stuff, but we already talked about that. ESS is counted in here. Very null-centric perspective in this sheet, isn't it? I feel like if you notice, anything that has to do with nullsec is split into meticulous details and subdivided, and faction warfare is just one listing. Weird to make Paladin production when none of them have been produced. Well, it's I honestly would no. Oh yeah, home fronts. There's no home fronts. Shoot, hold on. I also have no. That's all of them. That's everything. Oh, hold on. Actually, hold on. I missed a section of the sheet. Let's go finish it up. Do 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 do. All right. Market. First of all, I believe that market should be under or buyback programs should be under market, but who am I? Station trading, buy low and sell high within the same station. I think that those ticks are too high, but you know, that makes sense. Regional trading, find or help the creation of discrete trading activity hotspots and stock their market. So I wrote down here market building, and that's what I feel like that is, right? So, and I think that that should be, I guess it could be there. But if so, I guess that could be regional because it's regional markets, which are often the smaller ones. And that's that. So I get that name for it. First of all, the upfront cost of doing regional trading and station trading are often two different things, especially if you're trying to make a new market. And that's what I was thinking is that like, there should be an activity here that's like market creation, right? Like that's one of the things that we've been working on is how do we stock Zarzak enough so that people can actually use it as a legitimate market out of nowhere. Like that's a whole thing in and of itself. But in addition to that, this also seems to leave out inter trade hub trading, right? Because this is saying stock their market. I feel like those are two separate things and need to be split out into two separate tasks, right? The transfer of stuff between markets, the major trade hubs, and the transfer from major trade hubs to smaller markets to do small regional trading. Scalping, master scalping, generous profits due to differences between buy and sell prices. Whoa, I don't agree that that's what scalping is at all. That's station. I mean, that's basically what station trading is, right? Like, what is the functional difference? Is there a percent where it goes from being station trading to scalping? No, I think that station trading or scalping rather is when you basically you go to where the needs are, where there's a shortage, and you jack up the price, right? Especially if you have a captured market. Like, theoretically speaking, the people that buy it all up and relist it at a higher price, you could theoretically say it, but it's more like, you know, during a major insurgency, raising the value, you know, start selling. Actually, a good example would be like, again, Zarzak. There are people selling ships and stuff for literally twice or more than they're actually worth. That I would consider that a form of scalping. If you're going to call anything scalping in this game. Public structures. Own public structures with tax services that players use and make a profit out of it. My guy. Freeport Citadel. Structure's so nice, he listed it twice. Fire sales buying. Help players evacuating dangerous areas to get rid of their assets by buying them under market value. Fair enough description. I don't think inflated prices in Zarzak is scalping either. The price reflects the local market. I mean, I agree, Jeff, but I guess by that notion, I would say that there isn't really scalping in Eve. Like, that doesn't make any sense because scalping... Hold on, I gotta look... God, now I feel stupid. Hold on. No, not that definition of scalping. Scalping in the arbitrage sense is a type of trading in which traders try to open and close positions on a very short period of time in markets such as foreign exchanges securities with the aims of making a small profit from trade. That's a type of that's arbitrage. So wait, that's just saying that all market trading is scalping. Yeah. Okay. So he's technically right about what scalping is. But I find it like the difference between scalping and station trading is the exact same difference between terrorist and freedom fighter. Scalping is when you're just making purchases, a quick change, because you're capitalizing on the difference between the buy and sell prices. Like, I just looked at, that's the definition. Like, that's what this says here. I thought it was like legitimately like going for captured markets and then selling it where it is, you know, like scalping tickets, you know, that's what you usually think of. But no, apparently that's not what scalping usually means. Anywho, bank loans, loan money to trustworthy players for trade use with interest rates. I want, who does this? I want to interview a banker. I want to interview a bank loaner. I know that actually, you know what? I know some people that do stuff like this, but I don't know if they necessarily think of it that way, but maybe. And then patch speculation. Be on the lookout for unannounced updates and changes to the game in order to profit from them. Watch my show. All right. Now, is there anything else that we feel like we've missed? Oz did it with investment funds, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go on a limb. No. I'm going to here's a hot take, okay? Ready? I think I'm going to cast some shade on fellas. No, not really, but I think, where's the social? In-game, right? Yeah. I think that streaming should be one thing. And I think in the same way that educational content would technically be in a different category, what I think is that game show host. Game show is different than Eve stream. And I think that you know what I'm talking about. There are Eve streamers that stream content about Eve, and there are streamers who run a game show in which Eve stuff is the reward. Now, I mean, like, a lot of streamers do some mix of the two, obviously. And you know, raffles and all those kinds of things, very, very popular, very, very common, good to do. I even do them sometimes, although I mess them up like every time. But like, I think you know what I'm talking about. There are definitely some people who have made that basically run a game show that uses the Eve universe as their context. You know, they give out prizes in ISK or ships or whatever. And if they do anything in space, it's usually just like for spectacle or something like that, right? That exists. And I feel like that's a separate thing too. All right. And I'm not casting shade on them. I think that that's fine. Like that's another play style, or that's another activity. Could make content creation its own subcategory. I mean, yeah, we could subcategorize it all day. But we have what's here, and I have this whole board, and I will message Moadib with this and the VOD and the notes, and hopefully, if you're watching this still, thank you so much for making this, man. Like, I feel like I've been tearing it apart a little bit, but like, did more than I did. Do I have combat exploration in here? This is not mine, by the way. I mean, yes, we did. Like, they've got DED combat sites. So yeah, now you guys know why when I saw this morning, I was like, oh no, I need to cover this today instead of my the Yeet exploration that I was going to do. I will say that if you guys are interested in Yeet exploration, I do have my video Yeet exploration guide that is with an alpha. So what I'm going to do probably over the weekend, so keep an eye out on the community page, is I'm going to put up another poll with 2 choices, because over the course of the last couple of 24 hours, it moved from yeet exploration to gas huffing. And I already have a yeet exploration guide, so I'm going to put up another poll that just has those 2 options and let you guys pick between the 2, and then we'll do that one Tuesday because my son has Monday off. Thank you. I thought it was good. All right. But I think so to wrap things up, so that about covers the main topic of the day. Thank you guys for checking this out. If you are watching this not live or on the VOD, but as a recording, thank you guys for watching. I do want to thank also all of the people that were live and my top sponsors, who are Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Belligerent Neckbeard, BlackRoseNoble, Drake, Federation Frontline, Ganai, Jay Kuhn, Lumi, Midnight Space Monkey, Milk, Not Just Fun, Punchinello, Seeds Aplenty, Serrano with No Eyes, Sho'Danar, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, V-Rod Cruiser, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, Zero. I do want to apologize to, I think it was, now I don't even remember. I think it was Punchinello was supposed to be down here, but wasn't. Oh, no, now I don't. Yeah, I think that was what it was. So thank you very much. If you aren't on this list and you're supposed to be, or on the list that's normally listed, the problem is I went to go update it today, and a lot of the people that are on there are like it's your first and last name. I don't want to put that on there. So if you haven't been listed on here, I've tried to message people, but if you can hit me up in Discord with what you want to be named on here, I'll be happy to add it to you. But with all that, oh, right, I remember now. As well as my Immortal Tier supporters, 745 MPSI, Aradenika the Queen, Ebo Leet, Erlitis, Elange, who should have been an Immortal Tier supporter, May, Malik Starfire, Mercuton, Nihilum, LM1, Sheesh, and Rid. Thank you all so much. Please, if you want to join them, you can for only $1 a month. You can become a member, get all the emotes and access to the supporters Discord channel on Discord. And you know, my eternal gratitude, more to get me to say your name and whatnot. And with all that said, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. All right, that fish means we're not done yet. Hey, ads inserted. Fucking outstanding timing. I'm a professional. All right, so that's it for this. Okay, so lots of things got updated. Phasmo got updated. It looks a lot better now. Raid got updated. If you are interested in Raid, like, I unironically play the hell out of Raid still. We still have room in our clan, and I can help you out. We've got codes for people that want to get into it. I will say this. They just did a new promo, and I'm not being paid at all to say this, by the way. They just created a new promotion where if you log in for 7 days, you get this new free legendary that's actually like really, really good. So, and we've got, but if you do get involved with it, contact me in the Discord immediately, because basically you've got 48 hours to use codes when your account comes up. And so we want to make sure to help you get the best start that you possibly can. Yeah. Also, tomorrow, Structure Bash, be there. I think it's 2100, 2000, somewhere in there. Any other not Eve news? My brain is blanking all of a sudden. Final Fantasy 14 has a pictographer now? Yeah, I will. I think if that's it, guys, unless somebody else has something to bring up right now to remind me, I think I'm going to wrap things up. The new one, look, if anybody wants to like donate like $100 via PayPal in order to help me get the shards in order to compete in the current champion chase, I'd be like really appreciative. I mean, you don't have to, don't feel like you have to, and it'd be really shitty for me to take it, but you know, if you want to. I'm just kidding. kind of. Man, I want that champion, though. I really want her, and I don't think I'm going to get her on my own power. Ah, Christmas wiped me out. All right. At any rate, anything else? Anything else? I'll see you guys on Discord. Please come on in to Discord and, you know, hop in the channels. If you're interested in joining COE, we are recruiting for faction warfare, high sec, all kinds of space, insurgencies, etc. And if you haven't gotten your million free SP yet, make sure to use the link down below or in the chat in order to get your million free SP. Helps out the channel if you do. All that said, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, be in space. That's the actual ending.
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city